What's going on there, folks? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster here on this Thursday night, April 27, 2023. It's about 9:30 p.m. here along the West Coast, and I wanted to give a shout out here to some members out here of the channel real quick. We have 72 members here, so we're going to go through this real quick. One of our long-time members here on the channel, Albert Sanchez Jr. He's been here for almost a year. Jay Fuentes, Rob52, Robert Kozowski, Hope and Feathers, Ray, Pamela, Mike, Joel, Debash Mode, John, Maria, Park. Also, we got in here Nancy, Betty, Judy, Pamela, Dolores, Catherine, Joycelyn, Mike, Juno, Janice in there as well. Hurricane Heather, we appreciate you up there into the Northern California area. Clayton, Dean, Laura, Alicia, Helen, Bafaz, 262, Melanie Fisher. I still have yet to pronounce that, but hey, check it out. This is what I'm pointing at. Craig, Timothy, we appreciate you very much here on the channel. Purple Bullet, Lucy, Matthew, Linda, Missy Mimi's, of course. She's got to be included in there. She is a member here on the channel as well. Dinzian, an important entertainment. Alan, Candica, I think that's how you pronounce that. Candica. Crystal, Stormy Hawkins, thank you very much. Ambrosia 95, Grace, JJ, Linda, Ruth, Jeanne, Nancy, Ricky, Sleep Videos, Marietta, D, Harlita, Chris, Michelle, Lilu, the 13 rookie, Sherry, Catherine, Pauline, Ugg 33. I can feel like that sometimes. Danielle. Not for sure how to pronounce that one there, but appreciate you there. Squatch, I guess. Shylar, Alex, Mercedes, Don, Wendy, and Kathy. Thanks for checking in there. Quite a few new members here over the last 7 days or so. I'm guessing maybe somebody gave out a few memberships there. Kind of looks like it, because we have quite a few new members here over the last, just the day, over today. So we appreciate the folks joining here, and also the channel memberships, which is a pretty cool feature there from YouTube. That gives some memberships out there randomly to the channel subscribers. So what's going on out here in Fiji? We have a whole lot of deep activity taking place out here. This is not just one earthquake. This is a series of somewhat larger earthquakes out here into a portion of the Tonga Trench. It looks like it's maybe towards the northern end here of the Kermadec Trench. Kind of hard to tell, but this whole trench area, subduction zone, showing some major deep movement below the surface here. We're talking about down there around 600 kilometers or so. We did see a 6.2, a 6.6, and a couple 5s kicking up here into the area of the Fiji Islands within a very short time of each other. Now, I did kind of verify this here. Kicking up on the seismograph stations across the GeoNet servers. Now this kind of gives you a broader view of all the seismograph stations picking up 2 of the larger earthquakes there, and the subsequent 5-pointers following that larger scale activity. Of course, it will be more prominent right around the North Island, New Zealand area. There's some of those, the 2 larger quakes there, 6.2 and a 6.6. So we know there was 2 back-to-back larger earthquakes at some very deep levels, followed up by the 2 5-pointers and what looks like maybe some other lower grade or upper 4-pointers here following that activity. So things definitely ramping up here in a big fashion across the area of the Kermadec Trench now. A couple 6s, that's kind of a big deal, right? To have 2 6s within seconds of each other. But this area is very prone here. I'm going to pull up this, we're going to go 7.0 and above, and we're just going to run through the year 1000. And of course, this isn't going to cover all that activity. It's just going to cover what the USGS here has in their earthquake catalog book, because this is a very important plate boundary out here, and they can see some very large earthquake activity even into the deeper regions of the Tonga and the Kermadec Trench. I don't want to get too far down here, but just want to look here. I covered 7.0 minimum to the year 1000 up to today's activity. So, of course, the most recent activity was at 7.1 into the Kermadec Trench a few days ago, I should say. But kind of more focused. We need to stay more focused up. Well, hold on a second here. Let's see. That 7.1 was 43 kilometers deep. I'll stand by here for just a second. I want to pull up a different window. It's about split here in between the Kermadec Trench and the Tonga Trench, which puts it roughly within this little area that's actually got a seismic gap here. Notice that? Compared to areas down south and up north here, this is kind of a shallow area with kind of lacking earthquake activity. We have seen looks like a 7.8 within this area, not quite as deep back in 2007, 7.3 back in 1972. But I'm telling you, some of these magnitudes out here can be incredibly large, and also at the deeper levels. Let's see here, 7.8 back in 2007. So, I mean, I'm just looking at this position here. These are some extraordinarily deep earthquakes here along this, or underneath specifically this area. Actually, further west, right? Looking at this, it would put it well over here. 7.3 back in 1972. So, definitely can see some larger scale activity downstream, folks. And of course, with this type of elevated, deeper earthquake activity here, that's definitely noteworthy to watch some regions upstream. But I think we've already seen, let's see here, we did see a little bit of activity here in the mid-Indian Ridge. Let's see what we got here. Uncertain, though, if this has affected New Zealand or not. Nothing really showing up across the USGS model. Let's go back here and double check stuff over the last 3.9 about an hour ago in that same area of North Island. I wouldn't doubt it, though, folks, if we start to see things kind of ramp up back into the New Zealand area following this deeper movement. If you really think about it, it will add strain further upstream, and that includes, of course, New Zealand in the mix. So kind of hard to tell in all of this data coming in. I have to definitely check this in the morning and see if we got any elevated activity and uptick. But goodness, that's some two large deep earthquakes followed up by some fairly good moderate earthquake activity there in the region. That's it's a lot of energy taking place here down into the Kermadec Islands, or Kermadec Trench and the Tonga Trench region. So that could spell a whole bunch of issues here, not only down south, but also further migration here across the plate boundary. But I would say, I think right off the bat with this type of movement, we need to watch this area upstream for some larger scale activity. Tonga Trench south into New Zealand. That could put a little bit more stress down here across the plate boundary. And of course, the GeoNet servers are on the globe as well. Looks like a 2.4 down there currently taking place. It's a little cluttered, but there's, kind of shows you how much earthquake activity is going on down there into New Zealand currently. All right, let's go ahead and skip off of here, see what's going on. It looks like the North American plate here is kind of ramping up a little bit as well, following this earthquake activity there into the Tonga Trench. 3.1 into Texas around the oil fields here. Also up into Oklahoma, we've got a little bit of activity north of El Reno. Southern California lighting up here slightly as well, just around the Mexicali area. Just off of the Imperial Fault, a couple smaller quakes kicking up here following that earthquake activity there into the Tonga Trench area here just a short time ago. Rest of the movement throughout California, a little spotty up north. Let's see what we got here for the tremor. Should be calming down, right? Actually, wow, goodness. Looks like we're on the up and go again. 223 epicenters here today. Most of this looks like it is centered around, well, take your pick. Up here in the Washington or in Northern California. Kind of looks more prominent here across Northern California, which is at the southern end of the Cascadia. Not really seeing any, well, we got a couple earthquakes here. Upstream of the tremor, about 18 and 26 kilometers deep for a 2.1 and a 2.5. That's going to be upstream closer to the Cascadia subduction zone. Let's see what's going on here across the Yellowstone area. Double check, make sure we got the latest info, which it looks like we do. A little bit of activity being picked up here across the eastern section of the park. Not a whole lot being reported here by the USGS. The last one, actually the last two here was from yesterday, but we do have some activity showing here within the last couple hours around the eastern section of the park, which they hardly ever cover. And the scientists out there in charge, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I emailed them quite a few months back asking what's going on out here across the eastern section of the park and how come they don't report earthquakes here, even though there's obviously some signs of earthquake activity. Well, they stated that there's not a whole lot of seismograph stations out here to monitor and pinpoint the exact location, as well as the depth and the magnitude of the earthquake. So hopefully they get that filled in, but looks as though there's a little bit of activity occurring out here on the eastern section of the park tonight. All right, let's see what's going on here. Any uptick going on across Hawaii? Got to watch this, right? We got some deeper movement going on down south here along the Pacific Plate. All of this affects a broad area if you really think about it, right? You think, man, we're a little speck here on this dirt on this planet, and to us the perspective of the plate movement almost seems impossible, right, for an earthquake over here to affect areas abroad way thousands of miles away, right, in our perspective. But technically, if you really think about it, these are basically puzzle pieces moving around, and when one area gets shoved around or moved around, of course it's obviously going to affect areas abroad. So it's that's something I've always believed in, right? Earthquake momentum and pressure does affect areas not only nearby but also abroad and far away. So watching Hawaii, Alaska is showing a little bit of elevated activity here across the Aleutian Trench. It's all very small earthquake activity, but definitely noticeable here across this area of the Aleutian Trench right now. Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, pretty quiet. Let's see what we got. Wait a minute. Didn't I just say it was pretty quiet? Spoke a 4.8 into existence up here at the northern end of the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. Right about here, where the arrow is. Nothing showing up yet from the USGS, but that earthquake is coming in. Let's see what we got here. Not being picked up by any seismograph stations yet. But we'll watch that, right? Any kind of unusual activity following some large, deep scale movement, definitely have to take note of. And that's showing up here into the northern end of the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. Watch that pretty closely. All right, let me see let's see if there's any statement put out here by the USGS. Sometimes they put out a little notification, but it doesn't look like it. Alrighty, let's see here. Did have a 5.7 down here, or 5.6, excuse me, into the South Sandwich Islands area earlier this evening. Much deeper into the trench area. We did see quite a bit of movement here upstream over the past week here in the southern end of the South Sandwich Trench, adding to some strain, it looks like, downstream of this area. We started off here with some shallow earthquake activity, and of course, depending on how this trench is set up here, that would obviously add some pressure down into the deeper regions where we're seeing that movement right now. 5.6, definitely elevated down there into the area of the South Sandwich Islands. All right, let's see here. Space weather activity. Got a little bit of movement here to chat about. Got sunspot showing some growth here within this area. Getting a line of elevated activity across this regional sunspot. This one up here kind of looks like it's dying out pretty quickly. It never fails, right? It seems like it's pretty active on the northeastern limb or southeastern, coming over here, and once it gets into view, it just looks like garbage, and that's kind of what's going on up here. So I think our only hope here of any major solar flare activity or CME is coming from this sunspot that's currently facing Earth. It is directly lined up here with the Earth-Sun plane. We'll watch that here for some further activity. It has produced some C and M flare activity. 3288, the one I'm speaking of, is currently complex and growing pretty rapidly. It harbors a beta gamma delta class, and those are the ones that can produce some M flares and X flares once they get developed properly. Right now, 65% chance for a C flare. It's about the only one here that harbors a a potential here for some stronger flaring. 20% chance for an M flare, X flare at 1%. But think if it continues to grow like this, we may see that X flare a little bit elevated. Slightly elevated conditions here across the auroras tonight. Nothing major going on though. Yeah, definitely watch that area here. We can see a little bit better image here. Looking pretty nice. Very bright on the UV filter here. Roughly about the same. Looks like that may be getting ready to blast off a CME. And again, if that's the case, that will be Earth directed. So watch that here overnight. If it's going to do it, I guess it better do it now. Storm Prediction Center, a little bit of activity kicking up here tomorrow. It looks like into Texas. Again, these guys are getting swamped with some rainfall, and that's good. But also at the same time, there runs a risk of some tornado potential, wind, and hail events. Looks like the hail potential across a good portion here of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Arlington, Plano, Garland area, all underneath some significant areas of seeing 2-inch diameter hail or larger within 25 miles of a point. That's some pretty big hail threat going on out there. Again, it's that time of year, and that's definitely expected. Outdoor carports much needed. All right, let's see if there's anything else going on. Let me double check the maps here. Yeah, we'll just continue to watch this and see how it plays out, folks. Again, big shout out to our members here on the channel. 72 members. That's a pretty big deal. We're getting very close to 100 members, and of course, we do monthly drawings. I don't know if any other channels do that or not. Really, I watch a lot of YouTube, but it's kind of our way to give back to our viewers. I'm not all about take, buy this, buy our merch, buy our merchandise. You know, I always like to give back. I've always been that type of person where I will give back to the folks that support me here on this channel. So we do our monthly drawings, and we're coming up very close here to our 100,000 subscriber mark. We'll probably hit that by, I'm thinking probably by July, if not sooner. And we'll be giving out some pretty big prizes here to 10 people. We'll, of course, go into more details as we get closer to that mark. But just know the members out here are always entered into a monthly drawing. We always give away some prizes. And last month, or this month, I should say, we gave away... I picked 2 people out of our fishbowl here. So 2 lucky members got win some prizes. Either a $50 Visa MasterCard or an Earthmaster t-shirt, or a 7-piece geology mining kit. So of your choice, get to choose one of those. So it's something we always do. I think the odds of winning a prize is fairly elevated right now. So get in. If you're not a member, definitely join here on this channel. There's extra perks, extra videos, extra emojis and icons that are included in being a member here on this channel. And of course, again, we definitely appreciate all the folks here on the channel. There's a couple different options here that you can join. Looks like Harlita is a channel supporter. It's a step up from a super fan. Also Lilu as well. I've known they have donated here on the channel by giving away memberships, which is pretty awesome. It adds channel members here to the to this channel and gives everyone else out here a chance to win some prizes. But that's kind of a step up. We also have one above the channel supporters, kind of a little higher monthly deal there, but it's more like a sponsor here for the channel. The folks that really want to see, or help support this channel in regards to going out and checking out, specific events. Sometimes we go out on field reports and investigate earthquake activity, investigate maybe some fault systems out here into the West Coast area, or any type of volcanic activity. So we're getting ready to probably do that here again, but definitely know that all activity, all donations here, and membership activity goes directly back into this channel for quality, right? It's all about quality. Because without quality, you can't really make good content, right? You have to make good content to keep people tuned in. So that's kind of what we focus on, and also providing the most accurate information out here on the channel. All right, folks, have a good night. Again, live stream is up and running. We will see you guys back here sometime tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. It is Friday. Goodness, already. Weeks are just flying by, and summer is coming around the corner. It's going to feel like summer out here in California. That is for sure. Have a good one, folks. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow sometime.